Comunidad necia, muy buenas noches. Bienvenidos aquí a estas conversaciones necias. Y hoy tenemos un invitado de lujo, Olof Wikstrand de Enforcer. Así que esto comienza así. Ok, comunidad necia, muy buenas noches. Y hoy tenemos un invitado de lujo como lo es Olof Wikstrand, y ya, como ya lo saben, obviamente la entrevista va a ser en inglés y voy a hacer la traducción simultánea al español. Así que bueno, vamos a darle la bienvenida a Olof. Olof, thank you very much for being here with us, with Quien Necios. We're really happy to have you tonight. Thank you very much for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So as I told the audience, obviously we need to do the translation to Spanish. So okay, so you can bear with me a little bit here. So I'm going to ask. All right, great. So because our audience is mostly from Latin America, but of course we have some audience obviously from all around the world that also speaks English. All right.
Yeah.
So obviously, okay, let's start. I'm going to ask the question first in Spanish and then I'll do it in English. Okay, la primera pregunta que le voy a hacer a Olof la noche de hoy es, bueno, primero, gracias por acompañarnos y si están grabando nuevo material o piensan seguir promocionando Nostalgia. Okay, Olof, obviously, are you recording new material or are you going to keep promoting Nostalgia?
I think both. At the moment, we did a bunch of festivals last summer. We just did a tour with Destruction, Whiplash, and Crysis in Europe. But I mean, we haven't been on tour constantly since the release. So I mean, I'm more or less constantly composing music when I have time. So yeah, in between all the tours, in between the stuff that I have, going on, I compose quite some music. So both. We have more plans to tour more with in the era we are right now, but also like write new stuff in the meantime. We'll see what we do. Really, we have no solid plans for the near future at the moment, so we just take it for what it is and what comes up.
Exactly. Okay, let me do the translation. Okay, ahí estamos viendo una foto de obviamente de la banda de Enforcer. Y bueno, lo que le pregunté a Olof si están grabando nuevo material o piensan seguir promocionando Nostalgia, y me dice que ambas. Si están grabando nuevo material, que están trabajando en eso y que piensan seguir la gira promocionando Nostalgia, que la gira que acaban de hacer con Whiplash y Crysis, esta ha sido genial, han hecho bastantes festivales y de verdad que están muy contentos y que piensan seguir trabajando en ambas cosas, tanto en nuevo material como en esta próxima gira. Así que vamos a preguntarle ahora que cómo estuvo esa gira con Whiplash y con Crysis. So how was the tour with Whiplash and Crysis? Tell me about it.
And Destruction also. Yeah, but it was pretty great. It was like a standard run in mid Europe. I think we had shows in Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, France, Czech Republic, Germany. Did I say Germany?
Yes.
Yeah, and Poland, and I think that's it was pretty standard, but it was cool. It was quite a bit of people coming out to the shows, and we had a good time. We managed to we played a bunch of new songs live, which is always very, very rewarding, I think, and just get out there, spread the word about the band in general.
Absolutely. Okay, let me do the translation a little bit. Dice que bueno, que esta gira así con Destruction, con Crysis y con Whiplash, como ya se los dije, tocaron muchos festivales, que fue una gira bastante estándar por Europa Central. Estuvieron en Alemania, en Polonia y en varios países, pero que la gira estuvo genial, que de verdad disfrutaron mucho la gira y que bueno, obviamente van a seguir con la gira. Ya próximamente estarán dando más detalles al respecto. your the most recent album, obviously, is Nostalgia. So I want you to talk a little bit about that. You worked on this album during the pandemic, obviously, which was very bad for everyone, for not only for let's say regular people, but also for famous musicians as you and as a lot of all the bands and all the musicians in the world. Let's see, you everybody stopped during the pandemic, but what can you tell us a little bit about this album, Nostalgia, and how has been the reception for that album?
Yeah, what can I tell? Yeah, well, I think we did most of it during the pandemic. Yeah, the pandemic was a pretty much needed break for the band. First of all, it was for me, it was good times. It was times where I just finally could, like, relax and think about, maybe reset myself a bit, reset the concept of the band, think about what I really wanted to do and what I wanted to achieve and how to do that, and really get the time to do, like, compositions that were really thought through somehow. So that was pretty good. But yeah, we wrote the majority during that time, and then recording during 2021. So now it was cool. I don't know what to say more about, like, specific, but I think the album is pretty. I'm really happy with the album. I think it shows a lot of, not so much experimental stuff. It's more like going back to the roots with the band, and just do it as good as we possibly can. Strip down the sound a bit, and make more simple songs. That are more direct and more in your face. This is surely an album for the fans.
Exactly. Well, that's the best thing for saying.
Yeah.
Album for the fans. That's great. Ok, le pregunté obviamente sobre el más reciente álbum Nostalgia, que bueno, obviamente ellos trabajaron durante la pandemia en este álbum, y sí me dice que sí, pero que la pandemia no fue tan mala para ellos porque era necesario para ellos descansar. Ellos necesitaban un descanso, y que fue como un anillo al dedo le cayó la pandemia a Olof y a los muchachos de Enforcer. Así que bueno, ellos trataron de hacer este álbum más dedicado para los fans, y que sí, que grabaron y escribieron la mayoría de este álbum durante la pandemia, quizás un poco inspirado en lo que estaba sucediendo. Y bueno, por supuesto, lo del título Nostalgia, que obviamente la nostalgia de lo que estaba sucediendo, de lo que podía pasar. Y bueno, afortunadamente terminaron el disco y se fue, y bueno, ya lo están promocionando y lo lanzaron ya finalmente el año pasado, y bueno, ya precisamente un álbum para los fans, que es lo más importante para los fans. All right, Olof, let's go back to the beginning, to the beginning of your career. Obviously, I saw an interview where Jonas said that his first album was Creatures of the Night by Kiss. So I want to ask you, what was your first album, and what artist or band made you pick up an instrument, or wanted to be a singer, or wanted to be a professional musician?
Well, so many. First of all, I can't even like say one, but there's a few things I would say. Like, we're from a very musical family. Both mom and dad played in bands when we were kids, and they took us out, playing shows when we were kids. So we were always around music and around live music when we were kids. I think, but the most energetic thing, or the most that motivated me to do my own thing, was when I discovered heavy metal. Obviously, I had the music background from my family, and then discovering metal music on my own, and just putting those two together was like a atomic bomb. There was just, everything fell into place. And so some of the first stuff that I got into was bands like, first of all, it was like rock bands like Beatles and Rolling Stones when we were kids, that we obviously got from our parents' generation. But then I started to discover bands like Metallica. Was probably the first band that I really got super into. So that was the band that I was into, before discovering other bands sounding similar. But definitely, like, those bands motivated me to really want to pursue a career in heavy music.
Yeah, we're actually we just saw a picture of you with Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, and I see that Enforcer has a lot of influence from Maiden in your sound. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I listen to a lot of Maiden in your sound. I mean, it reminds me of Maiden, all over since the start of your career to this
Yeah,
day.
yeah. I mean, I can't hide that. Iron Maiden's been a major influence to Enforcer, to this sound. But I mean, like if you look at it in a bigger perspective, what has inspired me as a musician when I started to write music for this concept that is Enforcer today, Iron Maiden was definitely one of the bands that I was mostly looking up to.
Great, great. So, okay, let me translate a little bit of what you said, all right? Le pregunté, obviamente, porque Jonas, el baterista de Force, dijo que su disco, el primer disco que él escuchó fue Kiss Creatures of the Night. Entonces le pregunté, ¿cuál fue tu primer disco? Y él dice que no tiene ningún disco en específico, sino que más bien él diría que Metallica y Iron Maiden fueron, como quien dice, los artistas que hicieron que Olof se interesara por la música, además de que él tenía a su papá y a su mamá que también tenían inclinaciones musicales, eran músicos, su papá y su mamá, entonces obviamente también Olof se fue por ese camino ya, y entonces dice que cuando descubrió Metallica, que fue como quien dice, la banda que lo llevó a tomar la decisión de dedicarse a la música, obviamente eso hizo como que una bomba atómica, él mismo lo describe como una bomba atómica, una atomic bomb, una bomba atómica que hizo que él decidiera dedicarse a esto de la música. Y por supuesto dice que Iron Maiden es obviamente una influencia obvia en el sonido de Enforcer, pero que claro, hay que ver más allá para poder entender el sonido de Enforcer, que obviamente tiene mucha influencia de muchos grupos, pero que sí, que Iron Maiden obviamente es parte de la influencia del sonido de Enforcer y que no se puede negar por nada. All right. There's a lot of people saying hello here. We have, actually, a great friend from Colombia saying, hello, my people. It's the Ronald says hello from Colombia. We also have our friend Rafael Colmenares, he's writing from Delaware, United States. And Maria Alejandra Perez. Well, actually, she's my girlfriend, but she's in Ecuador, Guayaquil, Ecuador, and they saying hello to your obviously hello to both of us, so say hello to all of them.
Hello everyone, thanks
Great.
for listening. Yeah, stay tuned
Great.
with us. We got some more stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we have some stuff to talk about as well. Obviously, I cannot ask you this question, Olaf, which is obviously Senate, your previous album, the album before Nostalgia, and that album, you recorded that album also completely in Spanish. So, as you know, I know that you are from Sweden, and I want to know, how was the process to record the vocals in Spanish? Obviously, Spanish is not your probably you probably maybe speak a little bit of Spanish. Well, you will tell me about that as well. How do you handle to record all those vocals in Spanish? And tell me why you decided to record that album in Spanish?
No, I mean, it was a fun thing, really. I wanted to explore the Latin market, basically, to see if you could get some, because we've been touring in South America first time 2013, and we felt extremely welcoming, and we made a connection with the like the Latin fans, and I think that was a very strong connection. We would go there, we were very dedicated metal heads, like listening to true metal, doing all the Enforcer stuff, and coming there, it's not so common in Sweden or in Europe to be so dedicated to what you do, but coming to places like Mexico or Colombia or Chile or Argentina, and find people who are just as dedicated as we are to the music, that was kind of that was a big moment, I think. So that was like how we started, the bond with the Latin American fans. And then, just as time went by, I started to like learn Spanish or tried to learn Spanish when I was in Latin America in 2016, and I developed that a bit. I don't speak great, but I just know the basics, but so you can see it both as trying to explore the Latin American market, but also like a tribute to all the fans of us and of true metal in Latin America.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Okay. Bueno, le pregunté a Olof la pregunta que toda la audiencia de Latinoamérica estaba esperando de el álbum Zenith. Lo grabaron en español, que cómo fue el proceso para grabarlo y por qué decidieron hacerlo. Y bueno, Olof dice que él lo que quería era explorar el mercado latinoamericano y que de hecho cuando fue la primera vez que cuando Enforcer fue a Latinoamérica fue en el año 2013, y ahí fue que él se interesó también por aprender un poco el español, a pesar de que dice que no lo habla, no lo domina, entiende lo básico. Así que, bueno, probablemente él me está entendiendo un poquito lo que estoy diciendo, pero bueno, de manera muy básica. Pero lo importante es que eso fue un regalo también para los fans de Latinoamérica. En el 2016 fue que él empezó, como quien dice, a preparar esto del álbum, de grabarlo en español. Y bueno, lo hizo y de verdad que para él fue bastante emotivo grabarlo y bueno, fue genial. Poder grabar en español y darle ese regalo a los fans de Latinoamérica, y que bueno, que para él los fans de Latinoamérica son muy locos, así que bueno, esa es la próxima pregunta que le voy a hacer, los recuerdos que tiene de Sudamérica y Latinoamérica. Okay, Olof, now the next question. Obviously you perform in a lot of countries. You perform in most of South America. You perform Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Bolivia, Paraguay, Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia as well. You perform all over. Well, the only exception was Venezuela, but of course, I'll ask you about that later on. But what memories do you have about those shows in Latin America? What can you tell us? What was the craziest experience that you live in Latin America?
Well, it's really hard to point out like one experience that is crazier than another. I mean, but mostly it's about that, you feel very welcomed, and we've been feeling very at home there, because there's just a certain connection, and coming to a place where people appreciate our type of music and appreciate what we do in a way that people just take for granted. I think in Europe, that's something that I feel very good about, and it's been like that from the first time we've been coming over there. So that's why I really like to be around that musical climate.
Wow, great. Okay, let me translate. Dice que bueno, que para él es un poquito complicado acordarse de una experiencia loca en específico, pero que bueno, que él siente una gran conexión con los fans de Latinoamérica y que él siente que esa conexión es muy especial porque es increíble todo lo que ha vivido en Latinoamérica, que bueno, los fans son geniales y por eso esa conexión y por eso la razón de haber grabado Zenith en español, y por supuesto también consiguen Zenith en inglés, así que de verdad es increíble. Okay, we have some that's the one I'm looking for. That album was stunning, and your Spanish is great for me. Thanks a bunch for everything. Sam Stales, that's what he says.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, your Spanish is really good in the album. And of course the lyrics obviously sound in Spanish sound a little funny in a good way, but it sounds amazing, man. You did a really good job, because it doesn't really sound that you have an accent when you pronounce Spanish and when you're singing. Oh, and here Evelyn Martinez says the album in Spanish reflects the pure dedication to music and to fans.
Yeah, thank you. No, but I mean, I'm not going to take. I mean, I had a lot of help. There was a friend of mine who rewrote all the lyrics to be proper Spanish and just not translated versions. And then I had a lot of help recording it and to work on the accent. So I worked a lot on it, to be honest. But I'm happy that it came out good.
Great, great. Bueno, para nuestra audiencia de Latinoamérica, voy a traducir, él dice que recibió mucha ayuda al grabar el disco en español, que sí, cuidó mucho la traducción, recibió ayuda de parte de una persona que lo ayudó con el español y todo eso, así que, pero que fue un trabajo muy especial y muy bonito, así que, bueno. Okay, here's some questions from the audience, Olof. When is Enforcement coming to North America? Cheers from the United States. So you can answer
Well,
that
I hope
question.
soon. I mean, I think it's really hard for European bands to play in the United States. Unfortunately, like, you know, that's the hardest place on earth to get like visas to and make it possible. There's so much cost. So you know, we got to figure out a good way. But I'm trying to look into 2025, early 2025. But there's just like from you know, this is like a time frame that we've been discussing, so it's way too early to even say anything about it. But you know, we will be back there sooner or later, and after all, half the band lives in the States anyway, so that's it's gonna make it easier.
Wow, yeah, of course. Bueno, le preguntaron aquí a Olof que cuándo va a Norteamérica, o sea, a los Estados Unidos. Bueno, y él estaba explicando de que para los Estados Unidos, para las bandas europeas, se les hace un poco complicado por el tema de las visas, el tema de los permisos para poder presentarse en los Estados Unidos. Es el país más difícil para las bandas que no son de los Estados Unidos, sino que no tienen un pasaporte, una ciudadanía de los Estados Unidos. Es difícil presentarse, pues bueno, todos los permisos, las visas, porque bueno, ustedes saben que para un artista presentarse en los Estados Unidos necesita una visa especial, no una visa de turista. Con una visa de turista no se puede presentar en Estados Unidos, sino que tiene que ser una visa especial de trabajo, porque es un trabajo, porque vamos a estar claros, esto es un trabajo lo que ellos hacen, así que bueno, esa es la situación. Olof, now that we're talking about the United States, obviously there's a place that you play with Enforcer, which is very iconic, which is the Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles, California. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I think Los Angeles is one of the better has one of the better scenes in the United States for music at all, like whatsoever. It's always I always enjoyed every time we play there, and it's been associated with so much fun and so much, you know, great stuff. I don't think so much about like if a place is legendary and or not, or you know, anything like that. But it's great to be at the proper venue in the United States, a venue where a lot of people come out to see shows. So for me, that's it.
Great, great. Bueno, le pregunté porque obviamente ellos se presentaron en el Whiskey A Go Go, una de las partes, de uno de los escenarios más icónicos en Los Ángeles, California. Y me dice que sí, que bueno, que quizás para él no significa mucho eso, pero sí dice que es un buen lugar para presentarse y de que mucha gente va al Whiskey A Go Go a ver bandas tocar, y que cuando The Force se presentó, que sí, que fue un show bastante bueno, que bueno, que quizás para él no significa mucho, pero que sí está agradecido de haber podido tocar en ese sitio tan icónico como lo es el Whiskey A Go Go. Olof, you know, let's say there's a new addition to the band. Well, the most recent addition to the band is Garth on bass. How has been the adaptation of Garth to the band? And because we know, obviously, he's the most recent member in the Enforcer family. Can you tell us a little bit about Garth?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the best guys that I ever played music with, to be honest. He's incredibly spot on, and his musical talent is out of this world. He's probably more musical than I will ever be. And especially, you know, performing under pressure is like is something that he does better than anyone. I say he's like super reliable person and a great person to be around. So first of all, I think I couldn't, you know, wish for a better person to have in the band. That's first of all. Secondly, we found him because my brother played with him when he was briefly into another band together with Garth, a band called Scorpion Child out of Austin. So that's how we got to know him in the first place. And I don't know, when we because was during the pandemic when our previous bass player Tobias quit the band, and we were like starting to record Nostalgia, as just as a 3-piece. But then eventually, like Garth got into it, and he put down the bass lines on a couple of songs, and we were like, yeah, there's no turning back. We have to like get him in the band. It doesn't matter if he lives on the other side of the planet. He just has to be in the band.
Exactly. Okay, translation, all right. Bueno, dice que Garth lo encontraron y que es quizás el mejor músico con el que ha tocado en toda su vida, Olof. Y dice que, bueno, que está muy afortunado, se sienten muy afortunados de tener a Garth en la banda, que lo consiguieron fue por medio de una banda llamada Scorpion Child, donde Jonas también tocó con él. Y de verdad que ha sido una bendición, por decirlo así, de que Garth esté en la banda, que ellos empezaron a grabar Nostalgia como 3 miembros, o sea, con Olof, Jonas y Jonathan, y bueno, Garth se unió a la banda, pero que empezaron a grabar el disco Nostalgia fue con como tres personas nada más, y obviamente Olof se encargó del bajo también durante las grabaciones. Así que ya vamos a hacer esta pregunta para Olof, que gracias Bastian Gómez Alvial, ya vamos a hacer la pregunta. Okay, here's a question from Bastian. He says, how difficult results to work with a record label such as Nuclear Blast? Do they interfere a lot in the production of the music, or how do you
Not at
say
all.
that?
I would say that they haven't said anything about anything that we've ever done. They just taken what we do and put it out, and we negotiated about different like advance payments or royalty payments, and that's pretty much it. They've been very accepting to what we're doing, and also very passive, because they haven't really, a lot of people think that just because you're on the label or on a big label, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. But the truth about the music business is pretty much that you create your own opportunities. No record label in the world will present you opportunities. That's something that you chase yourself. So no, I'm happy with the collaboration that we've been having, and also that we've been completely free to do whatever we want.
That's great. And I heard very good comments about Nuclear Blast in that matter. So, okay, let me translate a little bit. Okay, para responder tu pregunta, Bastian, que por cierto estás en Chile, saludos a toda la gente que nos ve desde Chile. Dice él que no, que más bien todo lo contrario, Nuclear Blast ha sido totalmente, los ha apoyado totalmente, que todo lo que ellos muestran y que graban se lo entregan a Nuclear Blast y ellos lo lanzan así tal como ellos lo entregan, el producto tal como ellos lo tienen. Y que de verdad esto se llama la industria musical. La industria musical es de verdad la industria musical y es algo que para dar oportunidades es uno que tiene que buscar las oportunidades. Las oportunidades no llegan así en bandeja de plata, como lo dijo Olaf, y bueno, traduciendo lo que él dijo, y que de verdad uno tiene que buscar las oportunidades en la vida, y ellos precisamente se han encargado de eso. Enforcer ha tratado de siempre buscar oportunidades, no esperar que simplemente todo llegue del cielo, o que simplemente una compañía de disco le diga, sí, mira, ellos sí se han encargado, la compañía les ha dado regalías, le ha dado, como quien dice, adelantos para grabar el disco, para promocionar, todo eso, pero que en realidad las oportunidades las buscan ellos mismos y que todas las bandas tienen que buscar esas oportunidades por sí mismos. Así que bueno. Okay, Olaf, our next question. Okay, we're going to answer some other questions from the audience, but the next question I have for you, what has been the hardest and saddest moment for the band, for Enforcer?
Well, I think every time a member has quit the band has probably been one of the more sad moments, because you lose, because you become like brothers when you tour a lot together, and when you write music, and you experience all the kinds of ups and downs together with other people. And we had quite a few people who've been into the band for a significant time and then leaving because they want to pursue something else in life, I guess. And I think that's the most sad moments. Yeah, otherwise there's no specific things that I can think about, but
well, at least that's that's not so bad at all,
No.
members quitting is something that I think every single band in the war in the history goes by. So few bands remain with the original lineup. That's the reality of it. Ok, le pregunté a Olof, obviamente, que cuál ha sido el momento más difícil para la banda o el más triste, y él dice que básicamente cuando los miembros que se han salido de la banda se han abandonado, porque bueno, ellos hacen como una hermandad a la hora de salir de gira, de escribir canciones, y que eso también les ha, obviamente, esos han sido los momentos más tristes para ellos, cuando un miembro decide irse de la banda para buscar hacer otra cosa o irse a otra banda o hacer otra cosa en la vida. Esos han sido los momentos más difíciles, que en realidad no hay un momento que él diga, wow, esto fue demasiado triste, nos pasó y bueno, en realidad el momento más fuerte ha sido cuando ellos han, bueno, cuando ha tenido que haber un cambio de miembros en la banda, que bueno, ya como sabemos, Gard es el nuevo bajista, Jonathan también es uno de los guitarristas que está recientemente también, desde el 2019 está, y bueno, ellos han perdido, los que siempre han estado obviamente son Jonas y Olof, obviamente los dos hermanos, mientras que Jonathan y Gard son los más recientes. Okay, well, here's an interesting question, Olof, about, they're asking you if it would be possible to do a tour and when you play almost the whole Nostalgia album or the full album, and if it was like that, what songs will be on the set list? Have you thought about that?
You know, I think the songs that we played live is a result like of years of trial and error. You know, you want to deliver the songs that the audience gives the best reaction to. But I don't think we will ever make one album that outshines our entire back catalog. You know, so to create the best, you know, reaction with the crowd is usually, you know, you mix up some old songs with some new songs, and at the same time, Nostalgia is a new album and it hasn't quite landed yet. You know, I can't really tell yet if that's what the majority of the fans want to hear or not. You know, so it's a bit early to say if we will do that. If time goes by and all of a sudden Nostalgia gets associated with like the peak of our career in the future, maybe, but I don't think so. I mean, I think, you know, at the same time, my legacy is not one album. My legacy is our legacy is all the songs and you know that we've made during these almost 18 years that we've been an active band.
Absolutely. But at least with that question, that means that the album is great, because if somebody's asking you if you're going to play the full album live, it's because it's a great album, and somebody at least people is thinking or asking you about this is because they really love the album.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but you know, it's in the end, it's the audience who decide what we play and what we don't play.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ok, translation. All right. Dice Olof, le preguntaron que si sería posible hacer una gira en la que toquen solamente el Nostalgia, y él dice que bueno, que todavía es muy temprano para decidir si ese álbum va a valer la pena de tocarlo en casi su totalidad, y que hay que esperar porque puede ser que sí, que dentro de unos años se diga, wow, sí, Nostalgia es el tope de la carrera de Enforcer. Eso no se sabe todavía. Enforcer es una banda que, bueno, apenas está cumpliendo su 10º aniversario, aunque bueno, tienen más años, pero bueno, el primer disco cumplió recientemente su 10º aniversario, y que bueno, eso es un proceso, y que al final son los fans los que van a tener que decidir si Enforcer qué canciones va a tocar Enforcer y cuáles no va a tocar, obviamente, porque obviamente él no quiere que se le recuerde a Enforcer por un solo disco. Él dice que él tiene obviamente varios discos de dónde escoger, así que obviamente es una carrera, no se trata de un disco, se trata de una carrera, de un trabajo discográfico de Enforcer que es obviamente importante para eso. Well, here's an important question, because we're the three of us who handle this account, we are from Venezuela, and Venezuela is the only country in South America that Enforcer has not been yet. So, any plans to visit Venezuela?
I would love to. I mean, I would really love to, especially, you know, because of Venezuela has like the history of being like the most active band or active country in South America for bands in the 1980s. But I don't know if it's every time we've been told that it's too dangerous to go there and that we can't. I don't know why, but if there's a possibility, I will do it, because that's my mission, is to bring heavy metal to the entire planet of Earth. So sooner or later, I hope to be able to go there too.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, obviously, the people telling you that it's too dangerous to go, well, they're not mistaken. Things have improved, let's say, a little bit. They have improved things, and maybe there could be a possibility that you can play today. I mean, let's say next year or in a couple of years. But probably when you were touring back in 2016, 2017, that was very dangerous. But today things have improved a little bit, so maybe there's a possibility. Okay, so yes, hopefully. Okay, let me translate for all our Venezuelan audience. Sí, dice que a él le encantaría visitar Venezuela, por supuesto, que a él le gustaría ir a todos los rincones del planeta para presentar la música de Enforcer, que de verdad cuando estuvieron haciendo la gira por Latinoamérica, le informaron a Olof y a los chicos de Enforcer que era muy peligroso estar en Venezuela. Y bueno, para los que nos están viendo de Venezuela, yo también soy venezolano, sabemos todo el problema político que ha habido durante todos estos años, que bueno, no vale la pena mencionarlo aquí en esta, porque esto es una entrevista de Enforcer, no es un programa político, pero bueno, todos sabemos el porqué. Y pero que sí, yo le dije a Olof que bueno, que sí, en ese momento era bastante peligroso venir a Venezuela, pero que últimamente las cosas están un poquito mejor y que sí hay posibilidades de que se puedan presentar, bien sea 2024 o dentro de 2 años, o cuando ya vuelvan otra vez a Latinoamérica a hacer una gira, que sí es posible de pronto incluir Venezuela, y ojalá puedan incluir Venezuela. Quizás no era el momento hace 5 años, hace 6 años, todos sabemos el porqué, o por lo menos los venezolanos sabemos por qué, pero definitivamente la posibilidad existe. Okay, Olof, since we're talking about my country, Venezuela, do you know by any chance, have you heard any Venezuelan metal rock band from Venezuela that you are aware of?
Well, yeah, a few. I mean, Archangel, I guess from
Archangel, Arcángel is in Spanish,
Archangel,
all right?
Yeah. And well, Resistencia, I guess, is from
Resistencia, yes.
From Venezuela also, and who else could I? Yeah, but a bunch of 80s bands. But both of them, I think, are absolutely flawless, great bands.
Absolutely. And as you say, they're both from the 80s, so they're classic bands here in Venezuela.
That's everything I know. I don't know anything that is not from the 70s or 80s. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, I love the 70s. I love the 80s as well. If I tell you my favorite bands from those days, well, of course, Kiss, Beatles, Stones. Well, you mentioned Beatles, Stones as well. Yeah. We all love those bands as well. Okay, let me translate a little bit for a Venezuelan audience. Él conoce 2 bandas, obviamente, wow, son 2 bandas legendarias de Venezuela, Arcángel y Resistencia, que por cierto, las 2 bandas hoy en día están activas, solo que bueno, con miembros distintos, porque bueno, hay miembros que han fallecido, otros que se han ido de ambas bandas, así que bueno, efectivamente sí conoce algo de nuestra escena metal rock, Olof, así que bueno, nosotros contentos de eso. Sí, por supuesto, Gilman, que fue cantante de Arcángel en los 80, sí se ha reunido un par de veces Gilman con Arcángel. De hecho, yo pude ver una reunión de Gilman con Arcángel cuando le abrió a Kiss en La Rinconada, para aquellos que fueron al concierto de Kiss en Caracas, en La Rinconada. Así que bueno. Yeah, we have another question from the audience, Olof. Let's see, Juan, can you hit the question? Let's see. Have you thought about playing such songs as a Black Angel or Into the Night in the future?
Like I said, like once again, what songs we choose to play live is a result of trial and error. And and I think that, you know, we left those songs behind because we found that the crowd was reacting way better on other songs. And it's like, if you look at, you know, what people listen to online, it's those songs doesn't have a lot of streams, for example, which is, you know, you can follow, you know, what songs the audience like and which they don't like quite a bit. But, you know, maybe in the future, but it's really, once again, it depends on the audience, if the audience pick up on those songs, you know. So that's pretty much what it's, you know, well, yeah, how we decide what to play and what not to play. And I don't think that Into the Night is one of our more successful albums. It was something good for the time being, but you know, it's like not a lot of people recognize those songs today, and we are associated with songs from other albums, I think, for most part.
Well, yeah, of course, but let me tell you, Into the Night's a great song, and it's a great album for me, at least for me. Maybe like you say, the audience thinks in another way, but I think those are great albums and a great song, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, no, but I'm really proud of that album still, and I think
Okay.
it's like, it's special because nobody else was doing that at that time, you know. Between 2005 and 2008, there was like really just maybe a few bands in the world who played that type of music. So for me, it's special, you know, and it, you know, marked the beginning of the career that I'm still dedicating every day in my life to. So I'm really happy with a lot of those songs. They mean a lot to me because there was like, you know, when we only had, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 songs, you know, you had a bigger relationship to all the songs. Now that we put out 6 albums and have like 60, 65 songs out there, you know, it's just another song. But in the beginning, they meant a lot to us, I think, or at least a lot to me.
Absolutely. Okay. Ok, let me translate. Bueno, lo que nos dijo Olof sobre estas canciones que de verdad la audiencia quiere escuchar, bueno, algunos miembros de la audiencia, él dice que él se fija mucho en los streamings y que si hay canciones que tienen menos streaming son las canciones que él dice, bueno, vamos a apartarlas del setlist porque no están gustando, mientras que, y él se da cuenta, obviamente, cuando toca las canciones, hay canciones en las que la audiencia reacciona mejor que otras canciones. Y precisamente él dice que esos dos, sobre todo el primer disco, Into the Night, es un disco que ya la gente no recuerda mucho, sobre todo los fans más acérrimos de la banda, que prefieren escuchar los discos que siguen, obviamente los discos clásicos de Enforcer, y que bueno, pero que sin embargo él está orgulloso de Into the Night, está orgulloso de toda esa, esos discos y esas canciones que hicieron para el primer disco Into the Night, pero que obviamente él se fija mucho también en los streamings, se fija mucho, ajá, qué canción, esta canción está gustando bastante, bueno, vamos a incluirla, o no, mira, esta canción no está muy escuchada, bueno, vamos a dejarla a un lado. Okay, Olaf, in a recent interview, you said that metal is being killed by bands who include rap. So, what bands? So, my question is the other way. What bands, in your opinion, on the contrary, are precisely saving metal? I mean, let's say new bands that have come out way after Enforcer did.
Today.
Yeah, today.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people blame grunge for killing metal, but grunge only killed, you know, commercial metal, and rap metal killed grunge. I you know, I never cared much for that. You know, not even when it came out, it was interesting for me because I was already into something completely different. But I know what bands today, and it's not, for me, it's not the old bands that carries the flame today. It's the young bands, you know, because the old bands are just trying to recreate so desperately what they did when they were young and, I would say, relevant. Young bands today, like the underground scene, is what carries the movement forward, I think. And there's a lot of new bands that I enjoy. There's bands like I really like a band from Sweden called Helvetet Sport. I like German bands, Vulture. I like that small movement of like speed thrash that's in 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 Europe that I think has been like really been great, like bands like Vulture, Butcher, Evil Invaders, Hell Ripper, stuff like that. I think they really take the genre forward. And at the same time, in United States, bands like Toxic Holocaust is a band that I really like from the United States, and and then we have the traditional metal movement with Night Demon, Haunt from America, and you got Ambush, bunch of bands from here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, let me translate a little bit. Okay, le pregunté de que si obviamente hay mucha, él dijo en una entrevista reciente que había bandas que meten el rap y que esas bandas están matando el metal, en su opinión, pero bueno, le pregunté que qué bandas están más bien por todo lo contrario, tratando de salvar el metal, y dice, bueno, él nombró ahorita muchas bandas de Alemania, de Estados Unidos, del mismo Suecia, muchas bandas de la escena underground, trash y speed metal, y que hay muchas bandas buenas, que de hecho, si pueden volver a ver esta entrevista cuando ya esté montada aquí en YouTube, que va a quedar aquí montada, vuelven a ver todas las bandas que él nombró, son varias, de verdad que se me escapan todas, pero bueno, nombró varias que de verdad vale la pena escuchar y que son de la escena underground y que son nuevas bandas y que son bandas que a él le encantan y que recomienda totalmente para escuchar. Así que bueno, Toxic Holocaust es una de ellas, obviamente. Gracias por recordarme aquí. Y sí, de verdad que es algo de verdad genial lo que están haciendo estas bandas y que, bueno, él también explicó que obviamente mucha gente dice que el grunge mató al metal y no, mató al metal comercial, al glam metal de esa época y que después el rap metal mató al grunge y así sucesivamente. Son etapas que se van viviendo, pero él dice que siempre ha estado, como quien dice, enfocado en lo que a él le gusta, que es el metal, el heavy metal y el thrash y el speed metal. Y bueno, señores, se nos vienen nuestras preguntas necias. Okay, Olof, we're going to do, before we end the show, we're going to do what we call the stubborn questions. In Spanish is the preguntas necias. I'm gonna give you some questions and some options, but let's see this first.
Yeah.
Just a moment. All right. There it is, our intro for the stubborn questions. Okay, so like I was telling you, Olof, I'm going to give you two options, and you got to pick one, or you can elaborate if you want, but of course, it's whatever you want to do. Okay, aquí vienen las preguntas necias, así que bueno, la primera. Okay, the first question, Paul Di'Anno or Bruce Dickinson?
In Iron Maiden, Paul Di'Anno.
Oh, all right. Let's see. Ambush, amazing band. Oh yeah, one of the bands you mentioned. Great. Okay, the second stubborn question. Okay, para los que hablan español, obviamente le pregunté Paul Di'Anno, Bruce Dickinson, y dice que para Iron Maiden, Paul Di'Anno. O sea que wow, great. The second question, which is mostly from your country, ABBA or Roxette?
That's a hard question. I like them both a lot, but lately I've been listening more to Roxette than ABBA.
Right. Well, actually, because ABBA is still, let's see, all the members are still alive, and Roxette, unfortunately, always forget her name. She passed away. Yeah, so sad that she's no longer with us. But okay, you pick Roxette. Okay, bueno, él eligió Roxette por ABBA y Roxette. Ese fue por Roxette porque dice que ha escuchado más Roxette. Okay, the third question. Let's see if I can pronounce this right, because this is about food from your country. Smorgasbord or Rackmonk?
Well, I mean, yeah, I I guess like smörgåsbord, that's more of like a, you know, a table with a little bit this and that. While raggmunk, it's like hash browns. So, but I like hash browns, so I say that. Yeah.
Rack. Ok.
Yeah.
Ok. Sí, le pregunté por dos típicos platos de Suecia, que es smørrebrød y raggmunk. Bueno, él dice el raggmunk porque dice que eso es como hash browns, mientras que el smørrebrød es algo más de mesa y todo eso. Okay, well, obviously this question regards about Mexico or Spain, because you've been in both countries and it's more like a Latin thing. Tacos or paella?
Tacos.
Tacos, all right. Tacos,
Yeah,
Mexico,
that's
yes.
my favorite foods in the world. Yeah.
All right, all right. Oh, and here's one of our great friends, Full Rock, that says, we invite you to eat arepa. Arepa is a typical, it's like a corn cake from Venezuela. You can put anything you want. You can put cheese, black beans, avocado, anything you want, and meat, chicken, it's a very delicious dish from Venezuela. If you come to Venezuela, we have to give you some arepas to try.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Bueno, eligió los tacos, así que nuestros amigos mexicanos, él prefiere los tacos sobre la paella. And here's the last stubborn question, which is, I think it's a little complicated, but maybe not so much. But let's see. Into the Night or Diamonds?
I think Diamonds. But it's tough. Between them, for me, it's pretty tied. Into the Night was a cool thing because it was our first album and it was a very cohesive album. But Diamonds, on the other hand, really captures Enforcer as a band because we became a band with that album, I would say. And there's a lot of songs that we still play, a lot of songs that are still classics. And it just reflects from a very creative era of the band.
Absolutely. Bueno, la última pregunta en esa que le hice a Olof fue precisamente Into the Night or Diamonds, que son los dos primeros discos de Enforcer, y él dice que a pesar de que a él le gusta Into the Night, él elige Diamonds, porque Diamonds fue el disco con el que ellos se convirtieron en banda, en que se encontró el sonido, se encontró todo, y que de verdad fue el álbum que los llevó a ser lo que son Enforcer, Diamonds, el disco Diamonds, que sigue siendo un clásico para los fans de Enforcer, y que siguen tocando canciones de ese disco. De hecho, la primera canción de ese disco es prácticamente con la que cierran todos los conciertos, así que bueno, es de verdad impresionante todo esto, pero bueno, es Diamonds el que elige. Okay, they're asking 2024 in Argentina, possibility of South America tour?
A small possibility. Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, we have been asked to do something there, but I'm not sure that it's going to happen. It depends on a lot of things, but if that's going to happen, which was another band's tour that we were invited to play on, in that case, yes. But if that falls out of budget somehow or becomes impossible somehow, then I don't think it's very likely that we do it 2024. Maybe we'll look into it at a later point, but we'll definitely come back for sure.
All right. Bueno, para nuestros amigos de Argentina, dice que bueno, que sí le gustaría volver a Argentina, van a volver a Argentina, pero que 2024 hay una pequeña posibilidad que si hay una banda que decide llevárselos a ellos para hacer una gira por Sudamérica, definitivamente van a tocar en el 2024, pero que si ya depende del presupuesto que ellos manejen, obviamente ahí sí va a ser un poquito más complicado, porque bueno, obviamente el presupuesto de la banda para poder hacer una gira, obviamente va a depender de muchas cosas, así que bueno, posibilidades hay, pero son por el momento pequeñas. Vamos a ver si de pronto reciben la invitación de otra banda que quiera hacer gira y se los quiera llevar, así que así sí tocarían seguramente en Argentina. Okay, there's somebody here. Oh, our good friend Juan, who's asking if you're drinking mate. Yeah, and you are drinking.
Yeah, that's nice. That's something that I picked up in South America in the first place, so it's a good habit.
All right. Un buen hábito, dice nuestro amigo Olof.
Yeah.
Así que, bueno, good habit. All right. Well, Olof, thank you very much for your time. And we really appreciate that you are here with us and you hang out with us here. We really appreciate it. Before we leave, obviously, I want you to obviously give us your social media, all the details, what plans are for sure for the next year, 2024. So tell us.
Yeah, well, you can find us on any social media. Just search for the name Enforcer. What's up on in the near future? I think I don't know. We have a bunch of shows coming up, like one-offs in the spring in Europe, and then we have hopefully we'll do a bunch of festivals and maybe a tour in the autumn. But that's just like, there's actually at this moment there's no solid plans at all. We're just like throwing out different ideas about how we want to present the band in the next years. But also I'm in a phase where I'm like trying to collect as much riffs and song ideas as I can, with that will, I'm not in the moment where I will record yet, but just collect material that possibly could result in the next album. Yeah.
Right. Okay, let me give you this message. Give this message to all from my side. Telling I'm a big fan from Colombia, that I met him this year in his show in February, and that it was one of the best shows I ever seen in my life. We are waiting for you here in Colombia. Oh, okay.
Thank you. We can't wait to come back for sure.
Absolutely. Ok, para traducirlo, la parte final que dijo Olof, es que, bueno, que ellos están, obviamente, bueno, ya sabemos las redes sociales, Enforcer, búsquenlo por todo, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, todo eso. Y que, bueno, que para 2024 tienen algunos shows en solitario por ahí en febrero, en Europa y en el otoño, pero que sí están viendo a ver si se presentan en algunos festivales, pero que por el momento ahorita lo que están es recopilando como quien dice, los riffs, las ideas musicales para un posible futuro álbum, que por cierto no están grabando ahorita, ni están en ese momento como quien dice, vamos a grabar un disco. No, ya lo está aclarando, que simplemente están recopilando todas esas ideas, todos esos riffs que están recopilando en este momento para poder hacer un nuevo disco a futuro, pero que no están grabando nada por el momento. Van a seguir pues recopilando todos estos riffs para un posible álbum. Así que bueno, muchas gracias a todos los que nos están viendo y a todos los que nos van a ver por diferido. Thank you so much, Olof, for hanging out here with us. And well, we hope to see you again sometime in the future. And we hope that you play again in Latin America on another tour.
Anytime.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well,
thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. And well, say goodbye to all the fans watching and all the fans that will watch later on repeat.
Yeah. Thank you and goodbye. We'll see you out there.
Of course. Así que bueno, muchas gracias, comunidad necia, y nos vemos próximamente en otra conversación necia aquí en Qué Necios. Chao. Goodbye.
Ciao. Bye.